Hello, welcome to my stream, everybody. Give me a moment. Let me sit straight up there. Uh, Nothing special today. Nothing specific. Uh, yeah. I know yesterday we talked about a bunch of books. Well, specifically, My Middle East Time Life was the one we reviewed the most upon. My stash is wanting to stick way out there. I don't know why. Yeah. I ain't here to look pretty, so I don't care. But thought we'd toss up a few more here. Edith Hamilton's Mythology. Just a nice synopsis of the Greek pantheon of myths. Kind of starting from the primordials like Gaia and Uranus, and going all the way through the half human, half gods. Um, Native American Testimony. This one I haven't read yet, but it's some of the testimonials of Native Americans throughout history as they were driven off their land or put into certain situations. Put into certain situations. Nice little anecdotal historical text. We also have Born in Blood and Fire. It kind of covers basically 1492 through pretty modern Latin American history. Um, Definitely a good one to read. It covers just if you need to know a little bit about Latin American history from South America up through Mexico. It's a good volume to have. And because I felt it was kind of left out, I don't have as many historical texts, but this is one I do have uh, for India. Um, but yeah, I haven't read it yet, but it's a nice little um, text to kind of cover uh, a reduced history of the nation and its culture, its art, and everything. I mean, honestly, when you think of the great early nations, it's Egypt, it's Mesopotamia, it's China, and it's India. Because you usually think the Nile, um, the Mesopotamian River Valley, um, the along the Yellow River, or is it the Yangtze? I'm not sure. And then the Indus River as the kind of birthplaces of civilization, but it's really India we know very little of, because there's a lot of discussion upon Egypt, Mesopotamia, even of ancient China. But India, it's just as rich in history, but there's very little spoke of it. So it's kind of a bit of a mystery. I have again, I know I mentioned it yesterday, but From Slavery to Freedom, The History of African Americans, written by John Hope Franklin, who passed away in 2009, as well as Evelyn Brooks Higginbotham. But John Hope Franklin is a major historian on African American history. So definitely his works are something to look into if you ever want to know anything. There's a picture of John Hope Franklin and Evelyn. Uh, and finally, I have a book that I remember one of my professors often referencing. I have yet to fully read it, but it was written in the early 1800s when France was going through its revolution, but it is about the American Revolution. Democracy in America by Alexis de Tocqueville. Complete and unabridged, volumes 1 and 2. Yeah, you can see how thick that is, and the type isn't very big either. You can see it's tiny. So yeah, almost 900 and some pages, including glossary and appendixes. So it's a monster book. I thought I'd kind of show those off too. And I'm not trying to show off all my books as saying, see how many books I have. No. It's just, I feel there's a necessity to have references, materials that it feels like we've kind of lost nowadays. Everybody's so quick to pull up a wiki, which is, again, something I'm very much against. So, yeah. Uh, let's see what we have. But yeah, I think the only one I've really read is the Through the Blood and Fire: The History of Latin America and Edith Hamilton's Mythology. Mm, the others I've not really cracked open and read. I passed history of African American history because it was mainly due to the notes I took. I love discussing issues and taking notes. Thanks, Dr. Carter. It actually was a fun class. I enjoyed Dr. Carter's classes. But um, yeah, it was very interesting, very informative. Let's see. But I wanted, like I said, a few more books I wanted to talk about. We won't do the mythology. We won't really discuss much of them in detail today, like I did with the Time Life book, because it was only like yay big anyway. Uh, but again, I just kind of want to let you know that I do have the references. I do have the material. So a lot of this, when I talk about history, I'm not just making up on the off the top of my head. So I guess I just wanted to verify that with you. But let's continue on. What else to talk about here? What is there going on today? I'm going to cut off my Facebook here so I can devote other resources to other things. Let's see what happened today. This news. Trump whining again. God, he's the biggest whine baby I've ever heard. He wants CNN's boss to be fired. He claims there'll be violence from the left if he doesn't win his election in 2018. That shows how much of a whiner, a liar he is, because if you look at Charlottesville, it wasn't from the left that the violence was coming. It was from the neo-Nazis. It was from the supremacists, the tiki torch carrying assholes. But no, their murder of Heather Heyer isn't what he focuses on. We really need to remove that pompous orange pimple on America's ass. Trump cancels scheduled pay raise for most federal employees. Oh, great. I swear he's the worst president we have ever had, without a doubt. I mean, what has he accomplished that helps the average person? Honestly, what has he accomplished? I hate to judge anybody that's not completed a whole term. At least a 4 year, a full 4 years, but he hasn't done anything but whine and cry about witch hunts, the other side, you know, the tax cuts have raised our national deficit. And most of the middle class, the working class, and the lower class, the most they've seen out of them are enough to buy lunch. It's not hundreds of dollars. Because guess where most of the money went? To the rich. So again, he he's a con man. He's a liar. And so many people were like, I love Trump. He my hero. Let's see. Do I feel there was collusion with him and Russia? Yes, but not to the extent that it needs to be covered every night the way it is. But yeah, I do feel, did he collude with Russia? Yeah, I have no doubt because he's that kind of person. He would go to external sources outside of US to try to get dirt, to try to get help. He's that kind of person. So again, I feel yes, it colluded, but not to the extent that it's often portrayed as that every night it needs to be covered. There's still so many issues going on. I mean, he's racist as fuck. He clearly is. Again, sorry to use that word. I know YouTube likes to demonetize or punish those who use naughty words. Whatever. Sorry, I had something in my jawline there. I finally got out. It was a piece of popcorn kernel. Um, but yeah, his buffoonery knows no bounds. So I don't understand why other people can't see it. It baffles me. All you have to do is a simple search and you know he does this and this and this and this and this. But there's so many people who still depend on, I don't care. He is my hero. President Trump. Let's get off the topic of Trump, though. Let's talk about something else. Hmm. Oh, yeah. Um, I graduated high school a long time ago, 20 years now. But my old high school was kind of left to rot because they decided, hey, let's just consolidate the schools. And they took the old building that was my high school and it's just been sitting there falling apart. There's been break ins, vandalism. And it's like, you could put the building to use. It could be used to renovate the area, to help the homeless, to help those who need stuff to do. I mean, the work alone, to upkeep the area, that would provide people with jobs. And shoot, I would love to be able to put a couple rooms to use for educational and gaming purposes. So the equipment that could be used there would be, you would have to have people who know electronics, people who know um, other things. There's so many people you could hire and really help to provide jobs. Could reopen, like I said, reopen the cafeteria, free lunches to anybody. If there's children struggling with their food, boom, free lunches, free meals for the homeless. This could be put to such great use. But what does the county want to do? Because they're mostly of a certain red political persuasion. We're just going to let it fall down because we're morons. We don't give a care about this small little town. Honestly, shame on them because it's all about their political futures they want to expand and try to make to drag further, but they don't care. They really don't care. When it could be put to great use to put back into the community. But no, they don't want to try to do that. That would actually require work. Whatever. But anyway, yeah. There's so much that could be done. And it's sad because I've watched the area kind of fall down because they don't want to put the effort into trying to help rebuild it. Screw the people. But they expect your vote or support. This is why I believe in progressivism. Screw the Republicans, screw the corporate Democrats. It's why I like Alexandria Ocasio Cortez. It's why I like Bernie Sanders. I even give Elizabeth Warren some credit because she's at least financial policy progressive. You know, I like Tulsi Gabbard. I like um, Nina Turner. I like all these that want to help people that aren't taking corporate PAC money. Those are the kind of politicians we need that want to help the people, that think yes, corporations need to pay their fair share. They shouldn't get these giant tax breaks that destroy our budget. You know, Dwight D. Eisenhower, a Republican, by the way, is the last Republican president I can say that was a good president. Had a corporate tax rate of 90%. Corporate tax rate of 90%. And guess what? America was booming. We was growing significantly. Now, I ain't saying we need to go up to 90% in taxes, but I feel a 65% corporate tax rate for the very highest, like Bezos, freaking $150 billion. At that point, what is the purpose of it? Pay 65% of your taxes, or pay 65% of that as taxes. I mean, think about it. That'd still leave you billions. Billions. Not millions. Billions. Because that's 150 billion. If you pay 65% of that, that's like 50 billion. Well, more than 50 billion. I'm going backwards. So 65. It'd jump you about to 90 billion. He'd still have a good 50, over 50 billion left. But no, he can't afford to pay his workers a good salary. Can't give them good working conditions. And he has to get those big tax breaks. But guess what? It hasn't helped the working class one iota, one single bit. Because, trickle down, when you're as greedy as these corporations and these people are, it doesn't work. It only works if they realize it is their responsibility to give back. But they get it and they're like, nope, we're going to pocket it. We're going to hide it away so you can't even take taxes from it. So, trickle down is a theory that only works if, the rich and the corporations are willing to follow the rules. If they're not, which is often the case nowadays, trickle down doesn't work at all. And that's the problem with it. You can't depend on the rich and the corporations to follow the damn rules. You can't. So, just a bit of fact there for you. Let's see, what else is there? But yeah, I feel the very, very rich and the corporations, I mean, those making billions, like Bezos and some others, like those who make 50 billion or over, an outrageous amount, so many billion, 65%. Those who make 1 billion or 2 billion, like under 5 billion, the 1 billion to 5 billion, 60%. Those who make just under the billion mark, like hundreds of millions, 55%. And then you can start shrinking it down even more with less. So, like at those who make 700 or 500 million to 750 million, 50%. Because, I mean, let's be honest, you're going to struggle a little more when you're that further down. But if you're still making 500 million, and I don't know why my stream is wanting to freeze. If you're making 500 million and you're taxed 50%, you still have 250 million to your name. You're not exactly poor. Those making 250 million, we'll say 200 million to 500 million, 45%. And then 999,999 to 200 million, 40%. 750,000 to 999,998, 35%. So those making 500,000 to 750,000, 30%. It's a progressive tax rate. Then those making 250,000 to 500,000 a year, 25%. And those I lost my place. But anyway, it kind of breaks down to like 5% by the time 5% or less by the time you get down to the average man. Because that's all they can afford right now. Because guess what? There's rich assholes who don't want to pay them shit. Walmart, Amazon, all these people. But I'm cursing so much, so let's get off politics, tax rates, talk about something else. I want to talk about something else, but all I can think of is politics. So look through my books here. Hey, through Blood and Fire. Let's look through that. Born in Blood and Fire. John Charles Epstein. But yes, let's see, spans 6 centuries and covers 20 countries in a concise, compelling narrative of the Latin American experience. I don't like the term Latin America because they're not really Latin. Most of them are Native American, put under Spanish rule, or African, put under Spanish rule. So Latin American, it's a bit of a misnomer. It's kind of like saying a white person is Caucasian. No, not everybody who's white is from the Caucasus Mountains. But I'd probably go with the most ideal name, people of Chicano heritage. So it would be a compelling narrative of the Chicano American experience, animated by stories about men and women from all walks of life, and enriched by insightful analysis rather than a country by country history. To take some more integrative approach within a chronological outline. Chapters are broken down in recognizable periods from 1492, Columbus's discovery of the New World, to the present. So, um, Updates to the third edition, this must be the third edition, include increased coverage of colonialism, refined and nuanced discussion of nationalism, and expanded treatment of the Cuban Revolution, updated coverage of current political issues and economic policy, and discussion of migratory issues in the hemispheric context. But yeah, Chastain is a professor of history at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, which he wrote this book, so that must be his major was we'll say Latin American studies, but I want to say we'll say Chicano American. Benito Juarez. What else we got here? Neocolonial export products. Neocolonial investments and interventions. Then 1910, the Mexican Revolution begins. 1929, stock market crash undermines neocolonial order. The 30s, import substitution industrialization. 37 to 45, Estado Novo in Brazil. What is Novo? I know Estado is state. So it's something state in Brazil. And then 45, Gabriela Mistral wins Nobel Prize. Because I know Estado state, because Estados Unidos is the United States. So not sure what Novo is though. 64. Kind of interesting now. The French, the Spanish, the Portuguese. The Haitian Revolution. The great slave uprising that began in the French colony of Haiti in 1791 crushed the master class, defeated several French armies sent to repress it, and created a vivid worst-case scenario for a generation of Chicano American slave owners. The liberator Simon Bolivar. Bolivar, who helped create 5 nations, was the single greatest general of independence. Bolivar was from Caracas, the son of a plantation owning family who gave him a privileged education, including a European walking tour with his brilliant tutor Simon Rodriguez, a man of fire with new ideas. But white, upper-class generals like Bolivar could not win independence without the support of Chicano America's non-white majority. Indigenous patriots figure prominently in this Bolivian painting. But yeah, picture of Bolivar um, leading some slaves to independence. But you often hear his name in a lot of places in South America, Central America. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, this covers 1600 to the 1790s. Uh, but of course, you had the Treaty of Tordesillas, which split South America between Portugal and Spain. So Portugal would rule Brazil, while the other side was ruled by Spain. And then, of course, nations like France also wanted a piece of the New World action. So they had a lot of Caribbean nations, Haiti, as we discussed there with the Haitian Revolution. Let's see what else. And of course, North America, because of the Louisiana Purchase. Yeah, they had to sell off a lot of their properties, though, because of the French Revolution, because they had to tend to issues back home. But other people involved, of course, was Britain, who had the United States colonies, a few of the Caribbean colonies. Spain had a few of the Caribbean colonies. With a little bit of North America, like Florida. But Spain soon gave up much of their North American properties. They sold Florida to the U.S. Mexico soon gained its independence. So it kind of really pushed Spain back a ways. There had already been battles for independence in South America, uh, Middle America. Central America is the name I'm thinking of. I said Middle America. Regardless, And so there was a lot of pushback. And Spain was pushed out. Spain was mainly pushed out. Portugal tried to cling to Brazil, and eventually they were pushed out. But even after being pushed out, they tried to come back. Yesterday we discussed France's occupation of Mexico, or attempted occupation. They installed a emperor of their own, Maximilian I, but eventually they pushed the French out of Mexico. So Mexico had already had independence from Spain, had already fought the Mexican-American War, so a portion of their country had already shrunk down. Then they were occupied by France until they finally were able to push France out of Mexico. So yeah, a lot of European powers tried to own the New World. And although we proclaimed the Monroe Doctrine, yeah, it was for the US's own purposes. It wasn't to protect North and South America. It was just to kind of keep Europe away from it so the US could do its own thing. But yeah, let's see what else. Hawaii was recognized even by the US as its own nation, islands of nation, a nation of islands. There we go. That'd be more precise. But there were some people who wanted to rule and have control of the islands. And thus, hey, US, or this country, take over. So soon it became a territory of the US, even though beforehand it was recognized as its own sovereign power. We have a history, though, of imperialism at the behest of the rich. That's one thing we need to do. Take the rich out. They are one of the biggest causes of problems in our country. But anyway, I guess that's it for today. Just wanted to yak about this and that. And I have kind of slacked off quite a bit. I need to do my video on the flags of the U.S. territories and go ahead and get that up. Make a few more videos that I can start posting. I know I'm doing these live streams to buy me more time so I don't have to feel so bad about missing my normal videos on getting them up, but I still need to work on them and get them up. But for now, educate thyself, read, study, learn. Hey, yesterday and today I've given you a whole list of great books. If you're interested in history, it don't have to be just history though. Science is a wonderful thing. It don't even have to be science, but educate thyself. Politics. I did political science in college before I ran out of funds. I took a few classes. So if you're interested in politics, go that route. When I first entered college, I took business administration. So I learned a little bit of accounting and stuff like that. I dropped it though and soon changed what I wanted to do, but a lot of work, and then ended up costing me that I didn't have the funds for everything. So, um, I don't know why my mustache wants to sit all the way up here. Oh goodness. But yeah, educate thyself. Um, but yeah, guys, girls, anyone, you're not alone. I do love y'all. You are appreciated. Just so you know. Well, I will see you all tomorrow. Later.